Hello and welcome to another Monday with your girls at the Creative Hustle podcast. We are so grateful to have you here with us today and looking forward to diving into another discussion topic that we feel is super important. Today we are discussing 5 things we're doing right and 5 things that we're doing wrong in our businesses, Elegant Productions and Arrow and Knot. So welcome, thanks for joining us, and let's dive in. Okay, girls.
Okay.
I think you should always start with what you're doing wrong and then finish with what you're doing right. Let's break our spirits down so that we can build them back up again.
Yeah, and we can really go off into this week with a positive mindset.
Exactly. The out with the old, out with the bad, in with the good. Okay, so let's kick things off. 5 things we feel like we're doing wrong in our businesses at this moment.
Okay, numero uno for Jane and I, and I've heard through the grapevine, you as well. We are terrible at tracking our kilometers when we drive. So come tax season, we have all our mileage receipts, etc., but we haven't tracked our mileage to the best of our abilities. So there are ways, Caitlin, maybe you can tell us a little bit about that we could easily track our kilometers if we just invest a tiny bit of money.
You're so right. Every single year, my accountant emails me and is like, Caitlin, how many kilometers did you drive last year? And I literally pull a number out of thin air.
Yep.
And then he's like, give me some proof behind that. And I'm like, here's my calendar, figure it out. And obviously he's not gonna bill me for all the time that would take. But my dad, thanks Dad, actually told me about this great app that you can download to your phone called Mile IQ. I think it's one of those $7.99 a month, and it just always runs in the back of your phone. So make sure you have good data, good storage. And once a day, once a week, you can go in and you can just swipe right or left to determine whether that travel trip was business related or personal. So it actually starts tracking things it automatically knows when I go from my home to the office.
Genius.
It knows when I go from the office to downtown is quite likely work. It knows when I go from home to a wedding site, and you can classify where you were going on each of those trips. So I got to admit, I'm still not doing this right. I'm still not using it.
It's just the time of it all.
I know.
It's how much more room on our plate do we have as business owners to be okay, I just got in the car. Now I have to turn on my phone, swipe left or right.
Yeah. But I almost feel every year we're we need to be better at this. Mm-hmm. And we never do anything.
It's just one of those things, but we really do have to be better.
Yeah. This one's good because you do it on your own time. So it just runs in the back of your phone, and then it will send you push notifications throughout the week hey, you haven't classified your rides. So you don't actually have to do it when you're in the car. You can do it anytime, you can be laying on the couch and classifying your rides.
And what's that called again?
It's called Mile IQ.
Hey, Mile IQ, please sponsor us. Mm-hmm. Don't want to pay that $7.99 a month. So the next thing that we are actually, side note, when we were kind of going through all these points, we all agreed that it was so much easier to find what we were doing wrong than what we were doing right. Anyways, so something that we could definitely be doing better on is engaging on Instagram. Now, a few episodes back, we talked about how when we're in the office, we should be on our business account. So I've been really good at that. However, I've just been scrolling, liking. All I do is basically but I feel in order to really get your engagement up, you need to be commenting, sliding into DMs, all this stuff, but all I do is and I just feel I really need to be commenting and talking to the people,
Totally. Especially after our conversation with Kayla
I was just thinking
weeks
that,
ago, where she was you need to put in what you're looking to get out. What do I care most about? I care about authentic engagement.
Yeah.
Totally. Just comments.
That goes beyond your caption. Yeah. So if you're commenting and engaging with people, and it just means the world to them, because they're okay, Elegant Productions, we were talking about this tablescape that we saw, and here's where I can get it. And little things like that go a long way, especially when looking for inquiries.
Yeah, and it's just so nice to talk to your friends on Instagram,
It's a great way to keep in touch.
For sure.
Something that I definitely could improve on right about now is a motto that I literally I talk about this all the time, and I share it with my team, and I tell everyone who I can, is you can care but not carry. So what that means is you can care about your business, you can care about your coworkers, you can care about your employees and your clients and your girlfriends and your husband and your everybody, but you can't carry the weight of other people's burdens. So I care about you two so much, but I can't carry your stresses around. I can't carry the stress of our 50 brides who are planning their weddings around. And I think I could do a lot better job of just like not carrying around, the weight of other people's, stresses and burdens and anxieties and panic attacks as they're leading up to one of the most important days of their lives. I care about my clients so much, and I care about making their day so special, but at the same time I can only do what I've been commissioned to do, which is plan and design their wedding. I can't I'm not a shrink, and I'm not a genie.
That's something that is nice that 9-to-5ers have, They, at 5 p.m., they leave the office or whatever, and they leave all of their stresses. Well, I shouldn't say all of, but most of their stresses behind.
I have the ability to, exactly.
Yeah, but it's just like we can't really do that because we care so deeply. It's like our child. Our business is like our child.
It goes back to being human. Yeah. You carry because you're human and you're a caring person. I don't think that's a fault by any means. I know that it probably keeps you up at night or makes you overlap scheduling or whatever you do. But like, you're human. And I think in a way that it's kind of nice that you carry in a way that you care that much. Yeah. It's just, I think you just have to find the balance.
I need to find balance. I need to be able to like check out at the end of the day. I need to be able to like enjoy life and not work, until
and I'm so guilty of
and
it.
Then go right to bed, and like the last thing you did was work, and then you're getting up the next day and you're working.
Totally.
But the shitty thing about being a small business owner is you can't always completely check out, which kind of brings us to our next point that we're not that good on.
Yes. So our next point is we need to be better at screening emails on weekends, or in our off time, not just weekends. So for an instance, and behind the scenes, we have an intern. Her name's Molly. You guys can't see her, but she's running the camera. Yeah. So an instant of this was we gave Molly a project a couple weeks ago, and then we had the day off, and Jane was busy painting. I was going about my day, and she had a project done and didn't have a project after that. So we felt really guilty. We're like, well, what if Molly was sitting there for 2 hours doing nothing? Like, we have to be better at looking at our emails. I don't think that necessarily means that we have to, answer every email or look at every email on weekends or in our off time. But I think it does mean that we have to turn our notifications on. If we're away from our phone has to, we have to have the alarm or the notification sound on. And then we can see if it's an inquiry, we're going to answer it. We're going to stop what we're doing and answer it. If it's our intern, we're going to stop and answer that. So we need to really prioritize our emails in our off time.
Yeah, I think if you're, responsible for other humans, if you're responsible for capturing the most important day of someone's life, if you're responsible for, if a lot of your responsibility lives in your inbox, it is a good habit to kind of create in yourself, like whenever I get a few minutes, like I'll just check in here. Like I don't actually allow the notifications to come in, but I like consciously like check in myself to see what's happening in the
the thing with us is I don't think we would consciously look in. I think we would wait for the notification.
Yeah.
Because we do really love our off time.
It's so much.
I know it.
Like everybody else.
Yeah, of course.
But we really try to balance, we try to balance, like we were talking about, it all comes back to balance, and we try to not be stressed out by our inbox on our time off. But small business owner, like you have to be aware of what's coming in because it could be time.
Potential business. Or time sensitive
exactly.
business. You're right. So another thing, our final thing that I want to touch on for doing wrong in our business is saying yes to too many projects. So I think we're all feeling a little burdened with the amount of projects that we've said yes to this spring. I think what happens in our very seasonal business is when we're in the winter, when we're in that lull, we start to get a little antsy and we're like, we need to be doing more, and we have all the time in the world, and let's do everything. And so what we do is we fill up our spring. We fill up our spring months because we know that the summer and fall are going to be really busy. So right now we are full of styled shoots. We're full of networking events. We're full of coffee dates and lunches and different meetings that we've scheduled with our industry peers, which all are so important and so much of a priority. But we kind of set ourselves up for, you know, a lot in these like really crucial months for us, where we should be doing, you know, going all in on just preparing for what's to come this summer.
I agree.
We're feeling a little.
We could be doing that better too. And we are so guilty of like, okay, we're not going to take on many styled shoots this year. They're going to be like really good. And then we do take on the really good ones that we really feel beneficial to our business and the other businesses and the collaboration of it all. But you're right. Like, we're also going into our busiest season, and it would have been nice to have those extra days off before we're working, you know, 6 days a week essentially.
Yeah, it's true. All right. Whew.
Now let's build ourselves up.
Yeah, can we build ourselves back up? Because I feel like the energy in this room just went out that window. Okay, so 5 things that we are doing right in our businesses.
Yes.
Let's go, ladies.
Let's go. Okay.
Let's go, girls.
So insert Shania Twain song here. Okay, so one thing that Jane and I recently have been really concentrating on is our inquiry strategy, especially now where we have very select 2019 dates available. We really want to fill those like odds and ends up in our schedule. So we've really perfected our inquiry strategy. In the episode, I think next week you guys will be hearing about inquiries and how to up those. But just to kind of scratch the surface on it, we do a really detailed media plan that has to do with Facebook advertising. So what that is, and we talked about it in a previous episode, micro content. So we take a video, we make sure that it's accessible to the 1 minute feed on our Instagram feed, and then the 15 seconds on our Instagram stories, and the 15 seconds on our Facebook stories. And then also that main video on our Facebook page. So what you do is you really have to get to know Ad Manager on Facebook.
That's a complicated
it is such
little
a pain.
thing.
We should
That's
probably, maybe we'll dive into that in our inquiry episode coming up.
Ad expert. If there's any Facebook ad experts listening to us, would you reach out to us? We'd love to have you on, because it's an entire world of its own.
Yeah. So Jane and I are really learning recently by trial and error with Facebook Ad Manager. But when we're looking for inquiry, okay, we take that one full video, we make it into micro content, so stories, feed, what have you, and then we promote that post within Facebook Ads Manager. Facebook Ad Manager can push to Instagram stories and to Instagram feeds, and it's on your Facebook. Really low cost. We pop $10 on there, and I'm not shitting you. Last week we did
works.
It works. We had I think like 3 to 5 inquiries in like one day, which usually maybe we'll have like one a day on average. Yeah, it really
was
works.
really cool.
Also, make sure to like get those stories out there. And yeah.
Brilliant.
Okay, so something else that Kristen and I are pretty good at is keeping our receipts. So I feel like not a lot of people know that you can keep your receipts for a lot of things. Say you buy a new cartridge of ink for your printer, keep that receipt.
Expense.
Yeah, say you're out on a shoot or you're out on a drive delivering your product and you stop and get a coffee or you stop and get lunch. I would write down like, oh, lunch on shoot or product. Say you're meeting for a coffee. It's like, oh, production meeting, anything. Like there are so many things that we can keep our receipts for. And yeah, I feel like Kristen and I are pretty good at that. And then when we're being really good, we come bring them back to the office and we'll actually like highlight the total, write on the receipt what it is for, and then we'll pop that into our Excel spreadsheet and have it all organized, and then we file everything quarterly.
And we're good at that because we were once bad at that.
So bad at that.
We learned from experience.
I am also good at that because I cannot do it myself, so I've outsourced it, but that's another thing that I'll talk about later. That's one of my skills, is outsourcing and delegating. You guys all know, I've talked about this a million times. I am just like an email ninja. Like, I'm so good at it.
You are
guys,
really good.
I am so good at keeping on top of my inbox. It's like It's my favorite game to play.
It's your thing.
It's my favorite
Yeah.
game.
It's at the top of your resume.
It
Totally.
is literally, if I were to need to write a resume, I would just put Email Ninja on there and just be done. Yeah, so keeping on top of my emails and my inbox is my number one priority. I think it has so much to do with the success of my company. It has so much to do with the success of the events and the scale of, all of the moving parts that we are responsible for in our business and in our day-to-day. I've been doing something lately where I've been checking in early in the morning. I've been trying to wipe it clean early in the morning, trying to check in again in the afternoon, and then again at the end of the day. Sometimes this is actually around 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night, so that I'm not waking up the next morning having, to start with an already full inbox. So, it's something that I've had to decide, do I want to, work at night on random days? But for me, I could be watching Netflix or I could be clearing my inbox. And
then
just
it's
something that I've chosen to do right now.
You wake up and it's not such a stressful morning
Amazing.
already.
Yeah, it's so easy for me to take the evening, file everything appropriately, make notes on things, follow up on things. I feel like at the end of the day too, in the evening, you're not getting all of the responses immediately. So if I send something in the morning, I'm quite likely gonna get a response to that by the end of the day, versus in the evening I can just really get things very clean. So I wake up in the morning and I'm waking up to empty or very, very small number of emails in my inbox, and it's a great way to start my day.
Some people call me the secretary of Arowana Productions, and that is because I am the master scheduler. Mm-hmm. So anytime we need to do meetings or anything like that, Kristen will be like, Jane, can you look in your agenda? Mm-hmm. And my agenda, as everyone knows, is my holy grail. It's half of my heart is my agenda.
Half of my heart.
Yeah. Anyway, so then I feel like we're really good at organizing our days out, and we'll say if we have one meeting here at 1 p.m. and then we have another meeting at say if we had another meeting at 1:30, we'd be like, can we switch that to 2? You want to have some time for your meetings.
Yeah.
I think that kind of falls back into our journalistic background when deadlines and meetings and don't be late. If you're 5 minutes early, you're
late.
You're on time.
Yeah.
And this almost kind of reminds me, do you remember in the Kris Jenner episode when we were Courtney and Kim, they're only focused in that what was
in
her
the
name?
moment,
Chloe,
in
yeah.
the meeting.
And it's I feel like if our schedules were that close together, if meetings were that close, in the back of my head, I would just be way too stressed out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think we're really good at scheduling our time and committing to it.
Yeah, and then when we're in that
matter
thing,
what.
we're giving it our
Very
all.
present.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because we don't always want to take a meeting that could have been sent over a 2-sentence email.
This meeting could have been an email.
Yes, exactly. So
I love those.
But we're we do put our all into those, and we're very mindful organized and mindful of people's time.
Yeah.
And so with our schedule, our schedule, like Jane said, is her holy grail. I think it's the business's holy grail.
Yeah.
Because that, that's our reputation too, our schedule.
Yeah, that's true. And then my final thing is delegating. I think I'm really good at delegating. It's something that, I think all entrepreneurs, business owners tend to be a little type A. We like to own everything and keep everything very close to ourselves. But I've gotten really, really good at letting go. So letting go of the things that I'm not good at, and then just allowing others to take care of that for me. We've talked about this a few times, but social media, it's not something that I care about it, but it's not something that I feel the urge to wake up every day and post on social media.
You're not passionate for the gram.
I'm just not passionate about social media.
It also is it can be so exhausting on one's mind if you're trying to, do business things and then half of your business is scrolling.
Yeah, exactly. So I know it's sometimes it's how can you just pass off all of your company social media to someone who's not you? But honestly, I'm so grateful to have Rebecca and to have someone managing our social media, because if I was still responsible for it, it wouldn't exist. It just wouldn't be there. I wouldn't be able to manage it all. You know, we have a bookkeeper who manages our books for us. We have an accountant who files our accounts. I have Emily and Hannah and Brittany and the whole team who manages our clients for us. And, you know, we have systems and processes, and we meet once a week, and we're all doing the same things, but I've gotten really good at delegating and passing off what I can't do all by myself.
Respect.
I got you guys to do my video work, and you know, all of these great things that we're able to accomplish when we work as a team, rather than, you know, trying to do it solo.
And half the battle is knowing when to delegate, because I don't think we know when to delegate, and we just get in over our heads. So good for you.
Thank you. Well, it's taken me years and years to get there. Okay, so I'm just going to recap everything. I'm sure our listeners have, you know, a mile-long list of things they're doing right and wrong in their own businesses, but just take you back. 5 things that we discussed we are doing wrong in our businesses and can improve upon would be tracking our mileage by using Mile IQ or another app, spending more time engaging on Instagram, care but not carry, checking in on our emails and prioritizing, you know, flagging things that are required to get back to right away, and saying yes to too many things are all things that we're going to improve upon on the next few,
I promise,
over the next few months. Things that we're just going to keep on doing just the way that we're doing is increasing our inquiries, always important for us small businesses, tracking our receipts and expenses, keeping top of my inbox, being an email ninja, scheduling, and delegating.
Awesome.
Well, if you have enjoyed listening to this episode of the Creative Hustle podcast, we would love for you to subscribe to us on iTunes. We love connecting with our community of listeners. Watch us on YouTube by subscribing to @TheCreativeHustle. Follow us on Instagram and all the places you can connect with us. Keep in touch. And until next week, keep hustling.